Man, oh man, oh man. We're here. Let's go ahead and rock it. Salutations, my friends, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Factions of Freedom. I'm your host, Noisera, Freedom Faction, whichever one you prefer, and this is show number 1614, season 16, episode 14. And I have titled this episode, The Poly Crisis, Enter Hantavirus, and Alien Accelerationism. Yeah, that last part's a little bit hard. It's because they're just really throwing it out there. And it is kind of all these things simultaneously unfolding. They're releasing the Hantavirus. They're talking about economic collapse. They're flooding our feeds with all kinds of information regarding UFOs. And we've got war looming. It's like as the war turns down, they have to move us to another crisis, right? It really is kind of crazy when you think about the different ways we are being trauma-based, mind controlled, and all the other crazy things that we see taking place. And we're going to be talking about this week on this week's information-packed transmission. You've got the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney talking about the international world order, the new world order, talking about how America's fumbling right now and how it's going to be rebuilt in Europe. And again, at the same time, you've got all these pastors, Pastor Perry Stowe and Paula White, Joseph Z, and other pastors getting the tap on the shoulder that, hey, you might have to start preparing your congregation to deal with this whole alien agenda that's unfolding at rapid speed. While simultaneously, again, right after the World Health Organization running Polaris 2, just last week, we have Hantavirus popping off. So it's pretty crazy what's all going down. A lot of different information to break down with you guys. Lindsey Graham's trying to say, hey, let's flood Iran. Let's finance the counter measures, the counterinsurgents. Like, it's crazy what's really going on. You've got Republican politicians found on the side of the road dead in Oklahoma. It's like, what is going on? So truly, we are in the midst of a culture war. We are in the midst of monumental change unfolding. You've got CNN's founder, Ted Turner, passing away as well, right? And again, I couldn't help but point out that, to me, I think that symbolizes the passing of the guard, the changing of the mantle, the way this thing is going. You see, you've got people like Hassan Piker stepping up, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez stepping up. You've got all these people that are ready to be the face of the new world order as we see it basically come and mask off. Truly a powerful time to be alive. We have a lot of different things to get into with you beautiful people. But first, we have to do the housekeeping. We got to do the quick updates and just jump straight into it. I don't really have a particular segment that I want to get into other than just trying to hit all this type of stuff. I mean, we've got a pretty crazy clip in the COVID section coming up where they pull this white fibrous clot out of this dude's jugular. This is still going on, right? We are still having people dealing with the previous pandemic, and now they're rolling out this next thing when you've got people with depreciated immune systems. You've got the Department of War admitting that, we have directed energy weapons. It's really popping off. It's really going down. But before we jump into all of that, let's go ahead and do the updates in the intro so we can kind of have a free will for the show. Again, if you guys want to support this operation, the best way to do so is to go to patreon.com/noise. Patreon.com/NOIZCE. That's the best way to support this operation in this current configuration. It's crazy. I wanted to make t-shirts this week that say low IQ, because that was what Donald Trump called all the people who didn't want to go around with Jeffrey Epstein and dragging us to war and doing all this crazy stuff. He called us low IQ. I wanted to make t-shirts about that and put them on the shop and sell them. And I might start doing that. What's crazy is coming from like just where we've been on the internet these past couple of years and seeing like what really sticks. We've been very rigid, right? We've been venturing over to TikTok. We've been making into different types of videos, one of which is in our Instagram, in our exclusive members feed. We were talking about going through Project Grill Flame, psychokinetic and psychoenergetic capabilities of humanity. We were talking about that. We dropped it in our exclusive members feed. But what I've noticed is that people don't really read anymore, right? People watch stuff. And I think it's hilarious as I'm saying that as a podcast, an audio podcast primarily. People don't read articles anymore. That's kind of how we cut our teeth on social media. It's posting, volumes of articles of stuff with evidence and receipts. But people don't do that these days. They prefer to see a face. They prefer to see, videos, short clips, and you've got to appeal to that. And we're gradually working on that with our TikTok feed and some of the exclusive members content that we're dropping. Again, these are different ways that you guys can support us by hitting a like, hitting a share, hitting a retweet, hitting a repost. And again, just joining our exclusive membership program. I was vibe coding a couple new websites earlier today, man, about everything we have, about our social media feeds, our podcast feed, to see if there's any type of way that we can, accelerate or automate the things that we're doing, because it is good that people want to see the information, but we've got to figure out how to diversify it. And again, we do all that and more with you guys' continued support at patreon.com/noise.com. Again, just as some housekeeping, last year we found out in January that Blog Talk Radio discontinued their services and they took over 500 plus episodes with them. But we had a gotcha moment with Spreaker, and we're able to recover them. And now you can find us over there on Google, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, Alexa, Podcast Addict, and every other major podcasting platform. We've also been able to recover our YouTube channels from 2014, our Noise Era channel, as well as our backup channel. We put the links for both those in the description bar below. It's a way for us to kind of reconnect with our existing audience that is there, right, that they cut us off from. Like, it's crazy, bro. We're very discombobulated, but in a good way, in a weird way, it's good, right? We're like a decentralized, crazy operation because of all the stuff we got going on. Again, you guys can find what we're doing over there at Odyssey. We have our content going back all the way to 2018, season 6 of the podcast. This is me just saying, hey, we're not some Johnny-come-lately. We've been doing this for quite some time. Things are accelerating at an accelerated rate. We've got to really lock in. Because this is a part of Order Ab Chao. This is a part of them bringing the New World Order in. They have to create all this dysfunction and this confusion and this chaos, so they can come through and say, "Hey, look, that old system's broken. Sorry about that. Did you want a mark of the beast? Did you want a chip in your hand? Did you want to get a social credit score system and something to monitor your carbon credits?" Right? That's what they're doing right now in more ways than one. Again, you guys can find updates to what we're doing inside of our Discord, our Telegram. We have 2 of those as well. Gotta stay with the backup. You know how these people are. You guys can find the links to both of our Telegrams in the description bar below, as well as our Instagram, our primary one and our backup one. We've been posting again. They're throttling again. We keep moving. It is what it is. We've been doing new content over there at TikTok as well. Pretty cool if you think about it. I mean, how cool would it be to get some of these posts to go viral over there in China, right? Wouldn't that be the cat's meow? That's what we're working on, and it's weird kind of interacting too with the TikTok audience, because we're primarily from Instagram and somewhat of Twitter, and a weird kind of crypto background. But communicating with the TikTok audience and having some of those folks on, I think, would be pretty nice as well. Again, you guys can support what we're doing at patreon.com through Rumble. You can also support us through YouTube memberships, Coffee, PayPal, as well as our Cash App. We'll put all that goodness in the description bar below so you can get it and support yourself too by getting some New Leaf Naturals CBD oil, things are crazy, and I don't think they're going to slow down. Support yourself too. I like it. It was crazy, man. I was over. This is where I jump into talking about the storable goods and telling you guys, hey, go get that now. I'm looking at right now a receipt from Sam's Club right now on May 3rd for about $600. $612.14. And, this will probably last us maybe a good couple months, honestly, right? With the way these monster children of mine eat. None of this was storable goods. This is me telling you to get yourself storable goods while you can at today's rate, at today's pace. I mean, look at what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz, right? Stuff is kind of locked up and frozen right there. Like that's what's going to happen. And I'll talk more about this when we get into the Hantavirus section of the show. But I'm wondering, did any of the passengers or did any of the ships come into contact with people at the Strait of Hormuz? Are our goods contaminated? Have we even had that conversation? They're running contact tracers on some of the people that have been on the ship. But I'm thinking, like, how can these people exacerbate this issue even more so than they are? And so this is all breaking information. It's all popping off right as soon as we're starting the show, just last night, right? And we're live right now. It's 11:12 a.m. May 7th, but we're live right now. This is me just saying all this stuff is going to hit very, very fresh, right? Very, very new. We've got everything that we've got to deal with just this past week with all this alien nonsense, and now they're rolling out the UFOs as the war is slowing down. We got a lot of different things to talk about with you guys. Support yourself by getting some storable goods while you can now, because they're trying to shut all this stuff down. You can see them playing with the cards. Again, you guys can support what we're doing at patreon.com/noise, patreon.com/NOIZCE. With that being said, let's go ahead and start kicking off the show with the intro. God, man, I sometimes hate plugging. Whole lot of stuff. I hate plugging, but I definitely think it's necessary to keep the lights on. But with that being said, let's go ahead and intro the show with this globalist, Lindsay Hopper from the Cambridge Institute of Sustainability Leadership, saying how you're going to have to pay to breathe if these globalists have their way in the future. Let's listen.
When we talk about capital, we tend to think only about financial capital, about cash, financial assets, but we know that's not the only value on which our economies depend. We know that every aspect of every part of the economy is fundamentally dependent on nature, as you highlighted. The air that we breathe, the water we drink, the soil, the oceans we need for the food that we need to consume, the minerals that we need as inputs to technology and to infrastructure. And without these forms of value, these forms of natural capital, we won't have economies. They are the fundamental building blocks of our economies. But the ways, as you said, the ways in which we have grown our economies, our models of economic development, have been incredibly successful for global prosperity. I mean, but the unintended consequences of current models of growth are simply not sustainable on a finite planet. The amount of resource that we are drawing into our economies, Earth's resources, and the amount of pollution and waste that we're pumping out, whether that's greenhouse gas emissions, whether that's sewage into our water, whether it's plastics into the ocean, is beyond the Earth's carrying capacity. And we know that that's leading, as you said, to very significant direct impacts for society, but very significant financial costs for the economy. You can look at that as you have and calculate that at a macro level.
See, this is more of this type of nonsense that we're hearing. I'll go ahead and continue her because we've got to hear more what they're talking about. This is more of this nonsense that the Earth is unsustainable, that it can't sustain human population. We've got to figure out how to corral humanity in some type of way. There's too many people. Let's go ahead and let her finish, and then I'll give my commentary on the other side.
But the way that that's showing up as we're breaching these boundaries and breaching these limits and undermining nature is showing up in very practical ways that are showing up for financial risk for institutions. Lack of water is leading to disruption of operations, of supply chains where water is needed as an essential input for manufacturing or power production. The degradation of soil is leading to reduced agricultural yields. The decline of pollinator species is also having an impact on agriculture. So that's leading to direct financial risks for organizations, for businesses, and ultimately for investors. And you said ultimately the reason for this is at the moment, the way that decisions are made on an everyday level within businesses and financial institutions is because we're looking only at financial data, financial metrics that are not factoring in nature. Nature is treated within the economy as though it's unlimited and predominantly as though it's free. And the risks and harms are simply not costed in financial terms. We can cost them at a macro level. They're not costed into day-to-day decision-making. And the result is, as a consequence, we've put all of our economies at fundamental risk. We can't do business on a dead planet. If we're going to protect natural systems, one of the solutions is to bring nature onto the balance sheet, to bring nature into the ways that decisions are made within business.
Okay, I think we have what we need from her and from this type of people. The slack-jawed, the fake empathetic type of individuals that seem as if they care, but they coach all their authoritarianism behind a sweet smile and a decent exterior. We know what these people are. They're authoritarians. These are the eco-fascists. These are the eco-extremists. These are the people that tell you to have no more children. These are the people that tell you having kids is bad for the earth, breathing is bad for the earth, having animals in your backyard is bad for the earth, homesteading is bad for the earth. You really have to think that that's truly what we're up against. You see, and this is what we're ultimately talking about all the time, is this anti-human mind virus that Elon Musk talks about that's taking over humanity, encouraging it to do things that ultimately destroy itself. And that's it. We have people who are convicted and determined to do destructive things in the name of good. How does the saying go? It's like the best intentions. It's like hell is paved with the best intentions. Right? Good people always do these crazy type of things to justify it. This whole segment, we're going to be talking about how we're rebuilding the international order. They're trumping in the technocracy. We're a part of the Great Reset. These are all different phrases to describe the time frame that we're in. The intentional destruction, the disruption of the supply chain, the intentional chaos that's being caused, the confusion, the instability. That allows for them to come in with this brand new system and advocate for it. Never let a good crisis go to waste, right? But continuing on with the climate change thought process, the external things that these people are doing, and the proof that we've been right all along, 31 U.S. states have moved to ban geoengineering and chemtrails as the conspiracy theory has now become a conspiracy fact. This is by Baxter Mishra from Newspunch. They put this up May 5th. It says that for years, Americans were told that, quote, chemtrails were a myth, just condensation lines in the sky, nothing more. Now more than 30 U.S. states are pushing legislation to ban the very thing they were told doesn't exist. Across the country, state lawmakers are introducing and advancing bills aimed squarely at geoengineering, the deliberate manipulation of the atmosphere through aerosol spraying, cloud seeding, and other weather modification techniques. The language is technical, but the message is blunt. Stop anyone from altering the sky without consent. It's a remarkable shift. What was once dismissed as internet paranoia is now showing up in legal code. For over a decade, public concern about unusual aircraft trails was viewed away as misunderstanding. Officials insisted that they were ordinary contrails, a harmless byproduct of high-altitude flight. End of story, except it wasn't. Behind the scenes, major institutions have spent years studying geoengineering in serious terms. The idea is simple. If global temperatures rise too fast, inject reflective particles into the upper atmosphere, block sunlight, and cool the planet. It's been discussed in academic journals, explored in climate models, and quietly debated in policy circles. In other words, the mechanism people were mocked for noticing is now being examined as a potential solution. And now states are reacting. The new wave of legislation doesn't read like a theory, it reads like prevention. Lawmakers are citing risks to public health, environmental uncertainty, and the absence of any clear federal oversight. Some bills go further, targeting any attempt to release substances into the atmosphere for climate control. And that's where the narrative breakdowns. Yeah, it's crazy being able to follow this for so many years and finally see action done. Where we talk about, specifically last year, we got a lot of information as well too, confirming everything that we had covered a few seasons ago. Back in the one-digit seasons. There was aluminum, barium, strontium being sprayed. It was heavy metals. It was bacteria. It was destroying the crops. It was altering the environment, right? They were doing all these different type of things. And now here we are. We have somebody like RFK Jr. coming in and talking about it. But think about it. The geoengineering doesn't stop there. The weather modification doesn't stop there. They may say it's being done. They're done with it, but we know they're still engaging in that same type of project of altering the environment in one way, shape, and form. Because the ultimate goal is to alter you, is to change you. Part of the chemtrails that they were spraying, again, it had bacteria, it had the heavy metals that made you more conductive, that made you more receptive to receiving frequencies, disrupting, your pineal gland, disrupting your biome, disrupting all kinds of different natural rhythms in you. There was a reason why they sprayed us with heavy metals and all these different chemicals. But it's now good that people are talking about it, because for years you were considered a conspiracy theorist, crazy, right, for seeing all this type of stuff. And now finally people it's like the blinders have been removed, right? The craziness has become so overt, you can't hide from it. Speaking of these people still trying to alter the environment to alter you, a video is now tearing across the internet and has people asking the question that sounded absurd a few years ago. Are ticks deliberately being deployed, things like the Lone Star tick, are they being deployed in the environment to make people more resistant to red meat, to create a red meat allergy? Let's go ahead and play this clip, and I'll give up my commentary on the other side.
Well, I'm out here mushroom hunting, and I found, there it is right there, the tick box. I'm not going to touch it because there's ticks all over that thing. I know there is. Look at them crawling out of it. Millions of them. You can see the ticks.
Now, I had heard about this a couple of weeks ago. People saying that, hey, they're finding random tick boxes in forests all over the place. And I thought that was wild. But then there was a clip of that infamous Asian scientist talking about how they could induce red meat allergy and how that was the intentional goal, to make people more meat resistant. And now we get videos like this popping out, right? Disturbing, a simple but disturbing clip. A hunter in the remote wooded area coming across what looks to be like a sealed container lying in the dirt, as if it had just been dropped in. When he opens it, the camera catches a dense, seething mass inside. Quote, "There's millions of them," he says. Backing away, the box is crawling with ticks, packed together in a way that doesn't occur in nature. Ticks don't organize themselves into containers, they don't fall from the sky, and they don't appear in that kind of concentration without a host. So what exactly is this? Online, the incident is colliding with a lesser known but very real medical condition that has quietly been spreading in recent years: alpha-gal syndrome, triggered by that certain tick bites. It's a condition that causes the human body to reject red meat, sometimes violently. People who once ate steak without a second thought suddenly develop allergic reactions ranging from hives to life-threatening anaphylaxis. In other words, a bite can reprogram your diet. And you have to understand, what we're already dealing with is these transhumanist technocratic psychos. They've already reprogrammed our biology with these dangerous gene-altering shots. They want to take it a step further with things like this. So when we talk about rebuilding the international order, I've said this before, there shall be no humans in the technocracy, only transhumans. And they'll figure out all kinds of ways to poison us, to envenom us, to make us sicker. It's like I'm seeing this whole peptide trend pop up all of a sudden, right? And there are really good peptides, right? I think one of them is called retarditude or something like that. I'm not sure. Retardatory? I'm not sure, bro. I don't do peptides. I go for runs. I might be chunky, but I'm trying to get healthy naturally. And I see people talking about the injections, the GLPs and stuff like that. and how they support them and this, that, and the third. And then there's also the knockoff peptides, right? The ones that come from China, where it's like literally killing people. And this will make more sense when we talk about the free fentanyl lines that are popping up in Philadelphia and how whole areas in San Francisco are just being embedded by like people overdosing on fentanyl. The idea behind rolling out these type of drugs now is to make it look normal and cool. It's not organic or holistic in my point of view. It's transhumanism. It's biohacking. It's drugs. And that's what they're pushing on the kids. So they're already altering us post-COVID. They've altered people's biology. They're introducing people like Clavicular, who's encouraging people to take needles. They're releasing things like this Lone Star tick. They're going to find some type of way to hack our biology. Let's watch this quick news report talking about how multiple people at a McDonald's drive-thru in Paddock Lake, Kenosha, are reporting finding live worms in their beverages.
Customers at a Wisconsin McDonald's found worms inside of their drinks. Now, this unwanted surprise happened to not just one, but 3 customers. Our Milwaukee affiliate, WTMJ, got these photos. One customer posted them to her Facebook page after finding this in the drink that she had ordered from a McDonald's in Paddock Lake. That's in Kenosha County. 2 other customers responded with similar findings, one saying that he had already taken a sip of the drink when he noticed that something fell off.
The worm came through the straw. It went into my mouth. I spit it out in my hand, and I was contemplating life because I've never had something that gross happen to me in my life. It's absolutely disgusting.
That's putting it lightly. Listen to this. A report from the Kenosha County Health Department states that tiles under the soda and ice machines were severely damaged. The department also says that workers told them that they had noticed worms coming out of a sewage outlet. Well, management says that they hired a pest control company. WTMJ contacted that McDonald's location directly. The manager said they're not permitted to comment. We'll be right back.
That's all we can do. Go to break.
Yeah, so you either get worm-infested food or you get, the bug chitin. You get the bug powder that these people are pushing on you. And I know all this stuff seems pretty crazy, right? Seems like just the ramblings of a madman as we sit here and we talk about worms in food, peptides envenoming people, ticks that can reprogram your entire biology with a single bite. Well, you have to understand the world is being ran by psychopaths. It is being run by, again, satanic scientists and Luciferian engineers and occult technicians. Okay, this is a real thing that we're actually dealing with. And so when we talk about rebuilding the international order, that's rebuilding us, how we interface with this realm. What is the currency of the realm? Is it gold? Is it time? Is it attention? Right? What is the currency of this realm, of this time? And that's what's happening. The whole international order is changing. And this is what they said they were going to do years ago. I don't know how we missed it this year, but we somehow skipped talking about the Bilderberg meeting and the Davos meeting, but this is where they made this declaration. The creation of the multipolar world order. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing America gradually be brought down. Yeah, we're fighting back, becoming a third world nation, trying to get rid of all the immigrants and things of this nature. But the economic damage of what Donald Trump has done with this Iran war, that's not a light switch. And now, again, with the poly crisis, the virus, the war, the economic collapse, and now the aliens, this is the perfect, overwhelming situation that they need to bring this whole new world system in. Right? That's what we're dealing. We are dealing with a collapsing empire in one hand, and the rebirth of another in the other. Here's Sam Altman talking about how much energy it requires to train a human versus how much energy is required to train AI.
Of the 100 billion. One of the things that is always unfair in this comparison is people talk about how much energy it takes to train an AI model relative to how much it costs a human to do one inference query. But it also takes a lot of energy to train a human. It takes like 20 years of life. and all of the food you eat during that time before you get smart. And not only that, it took like the very widespread evolution of the 100 billion people that have ever lived and learned not to get eaten by predators and learned how to like figure out science and whatever to produce you. And then you took whatever you took. So the fair comparison is if you ask ChatGPT a question, how much energy does it take once its model is trained to answer that question versus a human? And probably AI has already caught up on an energy efficiency basis measured that way. One of the things that is always unfair in this comparison is people.
You see how the whole room just gets a chuckle? Ha 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 ha. It takes forever to train a human. Ha 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 ha. He's not joking. And we're also coming out of an outdated model that's intentionally being destroyed. We've lived a life of regulation and red tape on purpose. They've stifled innovation, they've stifled growth to the point to where we now have machines that don't have the regulation and the red tape that can move in the transcendent speed at which humanity invents and envisions. They are not binded by the fecal politics that we have to deal with, you see. But you see, as he makes this joke about dehumanizing people, that's essentially what he's saying. It takes forever to train people. Use my technology, it's much better than people. We want to replace humanity. This is the eventual goal. This is the transhumanist goal, to augment the human existence with this technology. What is Elon Musk always talking about? How we have to merge with technology and how that's the only way that we can survive it. And yet we have Sam Altman saying that humans are effectively not even defunct, not obsolete. Humans are obsolete. We have to upgrade them using technology. That's what I'm gathering from this. And now you're going to see that. Now you're going to see humanity get upgraded because this is the rebuilding of the international world order. This is the technocracy. This is how they flip in the transhumanist. This is how they get in their real new world order. You see, the Illuminati is the brain. The new world order is the body. AI is the brain. The humanoid robots are the body. And there's something that powers the Illuminati. It's that dark side realm that's encouraging them to do all this. And there's something that powers the AI. It's an amalgamation of us all and none at the same time. I hope you're able to see the singularity approaching at light speed with what these people are doing and how feverishly they're working in the background, not only to dehumanize people, make us have less faith in one another, less belief, less understanding, less curiosity, but more of like, oh man, humanity is fallen. Humanity is broken. Humanity is fickle. And that we need things like technology in order to make ourselves better. This is the transhumanist goal. This is the crux of everything that they say. This is that transhumanist religion that humans are flawed and that with technology they can build a better man. You see? Let's listen to this news report talking about brain implant testing taking place not here in America, but in China.
A U.S. company is testing a brain implant in China as the two countries compete in a fast-moving and controversial new tech frontier. This technology, known as brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, could transform medicine. But it's also raising serious ethical questions. Massachusetts-based startup Axoft says it's tested its device in 11 patients so far, including one in Shanghai. It plans to expand trials in China this year. The company also announced Wednesday that it raised $55 million to speed up development. It's the first time a U.S. brain implant company has disclosed testing in China. The Chinese regime has made brain science a priority, including it in its 5-year plan in 2021. Axoft says one reason it chose to test in China is the speed of the regulatory process. This technology could allow paralyzed patients to control computers using only their thoughts. However, critics warn the technology could open the door to privacy concerns and data security risks. It's also raising questions about how the human brain could be modified. Dozens of companies across the US, China, and Europe are now competing in the space, including Elon Musk's Neuralink. A US company is testing a brain implant.
Interesting. I'm just writing some notes real quick. How to affect the human mind. Did you notice how they pointed out regulation and privacy issues, and again how this would affect the human mind? This will make more sense whenever we play this next clip that talks about a human operator. One of the things we've talked about so long on the show is how, I believe that there are what we think of as consciousnesses, or at least entities, demons, extra dimensional or even interdimensional entities existing on what we think of as the internet. This would probably be a good time for me to pull up the quantum internet theory and how we're already logged in. Maybe I'll do that after this next clip. But when we play this human operator clip, it talks about how this gentleman created a device where he essentially gives AI control of his body. And I want you to think about the implications of this. Right now, we're simply talking about implants, right? Putting the chip inside your brain to where, simulates brain function, and it restores sight to the blind. It lets paraplegics walk again. People are able to have brain machine interfaces, control the computers with their brain. But I want you to think about the idea of being able to give AI a control of your body, right? Like I'm trying to say, take it a step further. This blew my mind when I saw this. And this kid's most likely going to get crazy funding. And they've probably already got this going on in black budget projects and other places. This is just the evolution of this technology. The human operator giving your body over to AI, the autonomous society. Think about how mind-blowing that is. But this is where we are now. So when you want to talk about rebuilding the international order, how there should be no more humans in the technocracy, only transhumans, this is it. This is why it even talks about it in the Bible, the mark of the beast style system. Like we have to play the clip of the human operator for it to make sense to put this into play, because people already know about brain machine interfaces, chips in the brain and things like that. But could you truly imagine communicating with another individual who does not have control over their body, right? We talk about possession, we talk about occultism, we talk about all this type of stuff. But imagine giving AI a body. Let's listen.
Gave an AI a body.
Hello, AI. How does it feel to have a body?
And it says that human operator is a human augmentation tool.
Think you could make me coffee? Of course. Hey AI, can you make me a rum and coke? No problem.
So he's got glasses on, but also have AI. So he has glasses on that also have AI. Human operator. He gave AI a body. And it's just autonomously moving. He's got glasses to give AI sight. And then he's just got AI. He's got it mapped to his body. It says that AI, human operator, is a human augmentation tool that allows AI to briefly take control of your body to help you learn or do things you cannot do. It says, in a striking demonstration from MIT Media Lab, researchers have developed, quote, human operator, a human augmentation system that lets an AI briefly control part of a person's body using electrical muscle stimulation. It says the device, featuring a scale-like array of electrodes on the hand and wrist, pairs with a vision language model. It translates open-ended voice commands into precise motor controls, enabling the AI to guide fingers and wrist movements for tasks that the user might not know how to perform. It says in the demo video, the AI directs a user's hand to play piano notes, draw a simple zigzag, and mix a cocktail, pouring ingredients into a glass. The system aims to serve as a learning and assistance tool, helping users acquire new skills or complete complex actions intuitively. It says Brian Rommel highlighted the project as an example of AI gaining temporary, quote, use of your body, sparking discussions on its futuristic potential for education, rehabilitation, and human AI collaboration, alongside ethical questions about control, consent, and unintended uses. It says that while still experimental, Human Operator points towards a future where the boundary between human capability and artificial intelligence becomes increasingly fluid. Now, if this is just what somebody's able to cook up over there at MIT, what do you think people who have already got these more advanced models behind the scenes have done, are using? That is crazy to me. I think this is just the most mind-boggling piece of content for this segment, next to Mark Carney saying that the international order is going to be rebuilt entirely. But the fact that this is happening it blows my mind. We're literally talking about this transhumans. This is what it looks like. It's not always going to be, chip heads, wire heads, thread heads. It could be something as simple as this. People hooking themselves up and having the AI say, hey, this is how we're going to run your life. And people being not even asleep at the wheel, but riders of their own body. So we've talked about exoskeletons. China has, super soldiers with exoskeletons that are training in the mountains, that help them augment their bodies, right? They're able to carry things that are normally hundreds of pounds, like in one hand, or they're able to go up mountains. Like this is already this type of technology, but at a much cheaper, sorry about that, phone call, but at a much cheaper and a much more decentralized way. Like, think about this. Absolutely boggling. Let's go ahead and proceed forward with the show. Here is Mark Carney talking about how he believes the international order is going to be rebuilt in Europe.
Discuss later. We are an energy superpower, third largest oil producer, fourth largest natural gas, largest hydro renewable base. We're committed to address climate change while providing reliable, affordable energy to our citizens and partners. In closing, we're here because of your invitation. Again, thank you for that. But we're here because of the moral and security imperatives of our cooperation in the Caucasus, in the Baltics, in Ukraine, across Europe, and also because of the immense potential for our partnerships to build a better, more prosperous, sustainable, and just world for our citizens. And I'll close with this. It's my strong personal view that as the international order will be rebuilt, but it will be rebuilt out of Europe. And so I'm very appreciative of that. And as we'll discuss later.
As a Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney says that Europe is not destined to submit to a more Canadian Prime Minister says Europe is not destined to submit to a more transactional, insular, and brutal world. Europe will not submit to a more, quote, brutal world, and can instead be the base from which a new international order can be rebuilt, Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, said. Carney was speaking at the first non-European leader to attend a meeting of the European political community, which opened on Monday amid high tensions in the Strait of Hormuz and renewed doubts about the U.S. commitment to NATO. Quote, we don't think that we're destined to submit to a more transactional, insular, and brutal world, and gatherings such as these point to a better way forward, he said, in a pointed suggestion that the era of American leadership was coming to an end, and explaining the symbolism of Canada's attendance at a European political gathering. He said that, quote, it is my strong personal view that the international order will be rebuilt, but it will be rebuilt out of Europe. Let's pause right there. because this is a harsh switch up from talking about giving over your body to AI to a Canadian prime minister going to Europe saying that America's fumbling. It's now time to rebuild the world order. It's because they've done everything they need to with America. And we can see this in more ways than one. We can actively see them bringing America down, trying to get us to bend our knees, besmirching our name, getting us into bed with people like Israel. Like, this is really the worst thing, that's something that Donald Trump could have done. And at the same time, they're rolling out more machines, the drones, the AI. I'll just be upfront. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to segue the two. This is me just saying all this stuff is going on in the background as we still have everything else to talk about. The Strait of Hormuz, the Hantavirus, the UFO scandal, the culture war, previous shootings. Like, this is me just starting the show, saying we've got foreign countries basically meeting together saying that, hey, I don't think America's going to pull out from this and it's not going to look good. We need to start really thinking about what the world order looks like. That's not going to be good for us over here in America. Donald Trump is going to be enraged, and he's probably going to be doing something that's going to make him crash out and make America crash out at the same time. This whole thing with this Iran situation was the worst thing that could have happened, and I think that's why they're rolling out the aliens, because they've got to hurry up and distract. They distracted with the Epstein files, they distracted with this war stuff, and now they're just rolling out these aliens to cover up everything. This was a disaster, right? But again, this is me just trying to intro the show. We'll reference all the stuff that we talked about later on in this transmission. This is me just saying we got a heck of a transmission, a heck ton of information to go over. A lot of information's popping off because they're telling you that it's all going down, and they're not going to slow down. They're burning the old world order. They're quickly and hastily trying to rebuild this new international order, right? And we have all these different problems just popping up out of nowhere, and they're not going to get solved. We're gonna beg somebody like Donald Trump to fix these things, but it's only going to get progressively worse over time. Again, let me just read through some of the articles that I couldn't even fit into this. Like, maybe I should have played that quantum internet video. There was a shooting at the White House earlier this week. A Secret Service officer got arrested too. One of the ones that was protecting him, he pleasured himself in front of somebody. We've got Congress having a MK Ultra hearing on CIA mind control experiments. That's most likely going to be coming out, I think, sometime next week. We'll talk about it then as well. The Chevron CEO warning of global oil shortages imminent. NVIDIA partnering with a new place to put mini AI data centers on. Howard Lutnick, our commerce secretary, literally being a sleazebag, getting interrogated behind closed doors. People saying that this guy's a scumbag. If this was seen in public, people would understand he needs to be fired. It's like, it's all going down, guys. You got federal judges releasing Jeffrey Epstein's alleged 2019 suicide note. We've got a lot of different things to get into in this episode and more. And I still don't think we have all the time. But rather than belaboring that, let's go ahead and hit a hard break. And then when we come back, we'll be talking about the poly crisis, or at least the culture war aspect of it. Free fentanyl lines in Philadelphia, footage out of San Francisco that has people leaning like zombies. Trump telling school kids that Iran was 2 weeks away from killing you. He's propagandizing the children already. We're also going to be talking about that Republican politician found dead on the side of the road in Oklahoma, as well as the DOJ launching investigations into 36 Illinois school districts, secretly pushing transgender ideology and gender transitioning kids behind the parents' back. We're going to be talking about the culture war and what's going on over here and more on the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. This is Freedom Faction over here on Factions of Freedom. And we'll be right back right after this.
just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. I look for the invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, possible human immortality, appalling acts of brutality, genocide, because the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed. The good news is that as primates, we're incredibly adaptable. We're going to be tested to the limits. What they see going on is the breakdown of all tradition, all order. They're quite right that it's happening, but they're quite wrong to conclude that it should be resisted or is somehow evil. The mushroom said to me once, it said, this is what it's like when a species prepares to depart for the stars. You don't depart for the stars under calm and orderly conditions. It's a fire in a madhouse.
There is no such thing as its freedom. There is no such thing as democracy. Please stop listening to the mainstream media. Please stop listening to the Western world speaking about United Nations, human rights. This is evil. Nonsense. They have enslaved the human race under the banner of human rights. I beg you, they have enslaved the human being under the banner of human rights. There is no freedom in the world. The world is placed in the bosom of Satan, the killer of mankind. A snake, the poisonous cobra. Satan likes to do things in disguise, in quietness, in the depth. But the Lord forced him to surface up. He wants humanity to see. He's opening the eyes of those who are willing to listen to Christ. Those who are willing to listen to Christ, He is opening your eyes. What has been happening in recent years, it is absolute satanic. But all done in the name of human rights, democracy, United Nation.
What's going on? Like 10 people just ran into my studio. Is a big giant party going on here? Oh, they want to have a toast. All right. I know this is going to happen. Before we turn this over to Mr. Rentz, my point is that this has been beyond epic, and this has been 100% organic and real. You know, whenever they sued us, they would always ask everybody, who gives the orders? Who's the foundation people? Because they were all getting the orders. Guess what? My orders come from God, from my genetics, from who I am for humanity. And that's what they can't stand is your orders come from God. And remember, the devil's biggest trick is not that he doesn't exist. It's the second best trick. It's that good doesn't exist. You know, watching and listening, that you are overall good. You want good. You're not perfect, but you want good and you love God. So I tell you now, your destiny is in your hands. And so they think they're going to have their big victory. They think it's all funny. They think it's all cool. No, this is the beginning of the end. We don't ride on Trump. He rode it on our train. He was useful as far as he went. But humanity is unstoppable if we get in alignment with God. So go to Christ, pray to Christ, ask for God to atone you and to rebuild you and to lead God and direct you, and we will win. So I'm going to hand the baton for the next 30 minutes to our guest here, Tom Renz, and then Jay Dyer's going to take over. And then we're going to air hours of all the Sandy Hook documentation that was run by the CIA and the feds. And then we're not here anymore because they're turning the power off at midnight. Private detectives are coming in to close the doors. And they're going to act like they've got their big-ass victory. But notice the state court just blocked the little rat confessed Satanist from coming in to wear our skin for months while we launched a new operation. We're going to sue them for civil rights. We got whistleblowers. We've only begun to fight. But it's only because you buy the products at thealexshowstore.com that we're able to do this. They keep asking, why are they doing this? Why do they keep fighting? Who's the deep state? Who's the deep money? It's you. You are the deep money. You are the reason. And here's the great part. Our new owners, our new people, I have full control as news director. Everything I want, host, everything. They're ready. And I will sit there and live in a modest house with a modest car, which I love. And they think, oh, we'll take your money, Joe. Shut up. I'm ready to die for this. You think taking money from me does something? It makes me want to strangle you spiritually. It's a joke. It empowers me. And so now you've got all the people and the network that's launching that we're going to hire all these hosts, all this stuff, who are ready with all the people who know to sue your ass back. We don't just take lawsuits. We sue you and we win and we have your whistleblowers. We have you. You've walked into our trap because we don't start fights, but we finish them. And that, I'm telling you, it's all glory to God. I never bluff, folks. If you knew what we had, the whistleblowers, the documents, we have royal flushes. They are screwed to the moon. And all glory goes to Jesus Christ and our Heavenly Father that leads, guides, and directs us. We commit ourselves to God in this holy fight. and we are committed. And if God stands with us, who can stand against us? And that's how I close out. So I salute you all. What a crew. The hell we've been through has only made us stronger. Let me ask you, would you have any other way? No. Are you not stronger now in this fight? Yeah! I salute this crew and all the viewers and listeners to this fight, and I commit myself to Jesus Christ's hands.
God bless the Info War.
You are the Info War. It lives forever. We're going to play Frank Sinatra Blue Eyes and come back with the great Tom Renz and then Jane Eyre to close this out. God bless you all. That's it. The next phase starts. The real war begins now. It's the nuclear age.
Oh no, not me.
I did it my way.